На миру и смерть красна. Dear friends, those of you who has interest in Russian language and culture, I will give you now a beautiful lecture about one of the popular Russian proverbs. After this lecture, you will learn the proverb, vocabulary, and something important about Russian history and culture. In Russian culture, we have a big amount of proverbs and sayings that can date to centuries back. And what is interesting, many of them we are actually using almost every day. Rather, some of them we use every day, others less frequently. However, they are always in our memory. You can find many of them reading Russian classics. For example, at this moment, I'm reading with my student the novel Idiot by Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoevsky, and Dostoevsky uses proverbs and sayings all the time. At first, I will explain the meaning of the proverb, and then I will in detail explain the grammar and vocabulary here. Translation and meaning here is «На миру и смерть красна», before the eyes of the world, even if you are dying, it is still a good experience. I will repeat, before the eyes of the world, even if you are dying, it is still a good experience, worthy experience. «На миру и смерть красна». In more direct translation, I would translate the death is beautiful. Смерть красна. Now, when I translate the Russian word krasna, here it is a short form of feminine gender adjective beautiful. We need to remember a bit about the roots of the meaning of the Russian adjective krasny, which means red. In old times, red meant beautiful. For example, in Russian fairy tales, we say krasna devitsa, which means a beautiful young girl. It is important to mention here that short forms of Russian adjectives are also more poetic and literary, more emotional and beautiful than just regular full forms of adjectives. The word mir in Russian means peace, the noun, and also the second meaning is world. And here in this proverb, the meaning would be like the many people of one's immediate surrounding. On the battlefield, they will be the comrade soldiers and officers. In a peaceful surrounding, for example, in a village, they will be the other people of the village who are witnessing now what is happening. The other example from Russian history is a well-known heroic deed of a 19-year-old Alexander Matrosov from Great Patriotic War against Hitler's Germany, the years 1941 to 1945, who threw himself on the shooting machine gun. With his death, he protected a few comrade soldiers from their immediate death. Technically, the phrase «на миру» consists of the preposition «на», direct translation «on», and the noun «мир». The question to this noun here is «на чём?». It is a question of prepositional case. Regularly, in other phrases of prepositional case, the ending of the noun in all three genders of a noun would have ending «е». Мир is masculine gender noun. For example, в мире, the phrase в мире, in the world, в мире. So this is prepositional case, в чём? And this is actually what I always teach beginning students of Russian. The fact that prepositional case is easy this way. All the nouns will have ending «е». However, in prepositional case, sometimes in expressions we will have an ending «у» to the noun, like here, «на миру». The other example will be «в саду», in the garden. So these expressions we have to treat as exceptions and remember them as they are. Now, after this lecture, who will have patience to listen to me, you will know very well the popular Russian proverb, and you will learn this vocabulary for future. And this is very frequently used vocabulary in any culture: world, people, death, beautiful, red. Also, you will remember about Alexander Matrosov, and maybe you will want to read about him in Wiki. This is our history, and we do remember it. My father and grandfather were in that war. Now back to our lecture. So, на миру, in front of other people. Now let's go to смерть красна. Смерть, very soft ending. Смерть красна. I already explained that the meaning is that death is beautiful, meaningful, worthy. The last point I want to explain here is that the conjunction and Russian e has noun in this context. It has not in this context its usual purpose. It does not have in this context its usual purpose, which is of adding facts or information. But it has quite a different meaning. In this context, it means even. So we translate here, before the eyes of other people, even the death is beautiful. На миру и смерть красна. Of course, in the end of my lecture, I need to mention that the application of this proverb is rich. It can be applicable to many situations of life without necessarily having death involved at all. For example, you go to the important conference and you are making a speech, and your opponents are winning there. However, you are still proud of your achievements, and the momentary winning of opponents does not mean that theirs is a correct or better point of view or position. So very applicable here would be this proverb, meaning that you were heard by people, even if you did not mean, even if you did not win at the time. As we say in Russian culture, in the end, truth will always win. Thank you, my listeners. I hope that you liked my lecture and will be able to use this vocabulary, this knowledge, and this proverb in future if the situation arises. Goodbye for now, and happy winter holidays to everybody, and happy New Year 2023, the year of rabbit, which is coming to us in 3 days. Let all your wishes and so-called New Year resolutions come true in a new coming year. Today it is December 28th, 2022, and I am Zoya Eliseyeva. At this moment I am in Phoenix, Arizona. Спасибо, до свидания. На миру и смерть красна.